Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Planning Commission meeting. I'm going to call the meeting to order. First item of business is the roll call, please.
Yes, Vice Chairperson Medina.
Here.
Vice Chairperson Lomeli.
Present.
Commissioner Morales.
Present.
And Commissioner Cuevas is not with us tonight, but we do have a quorum to proceed with tonight's meeting.
Thank you so much. Can we, next item is the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, next item is corrections to the agenda. Are there any corrections?
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the Commission. There are no corrections to the agenda for tonight's meeting.
Thank you so much. The next item would be to open public comment.
Mr. Chair, I will go ahead and read that. At this time, the public may address the Planning Commission on any items listed on the agenda, including non-agenda items that are within the Planning Commission's subject matter jurisdiction. State law prohibits the Planning Commission from acting or entertaining extended discussion on a topic not listed on the agenda for tonight's meeting. Please show courtesy to others while providing public comments and direct all comments to the chairperson. Thank you.
Should we take public comment now?
We don't have any general public.
No general public comment, okay. Next item is the staff communications.
There are no staff communications tonight.
Thank you. All right, the next item, can I entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the Planning Commission meeting held on February 18th, 2025?
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes for the Planning Commission meeting held on February 18th of 2025.
Can we get a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Roll call. Sorry.
Chairperson Medina.
Aye.
Vice Chairperson Lomeli.
Aye.
Commissioner Morales.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you so much. At this point, I want to open the public hearing.
I will introduce the item, Mr. Chair. Item 2 on tonight's agenda pertains to a proposed conditional use permit to allow the on-site sale of a full line of alcoholic beverages in connection with a restaurant at 516 West Whittier Boulevard. Grace Hayashi will provide the staff presentation for this item, and again, it is a public hearing item. Thank you.
Okay, good evening, Chair, members of the Planning Commission, and the public. The item before you is a request for a conditional use permit to allow the on-site sale of a full line of alcohol, the Alcohol Beverage Control License Type 47, for on-site consumption in conjunction with the restaurant, Montebello Public Market, for the property located at 516 West Whittier Boulevard on behalf of the property owner, Yao Pan. So per the downtown specific plan, the land use table 4.6, it has the use restaurants listed, which is a permitted by right in the Main Street zone. And for alcohol sales use on and off sale outlets, it does require a conditional use permit per the downtown specific plan, which is the reason for the CUP request tonight. The project site is located within an existing standalone single-story building located on the cross streets of West Whittier Boulevard and North 6th Street. The building is located on a lot size of approximately 6,500 square feet, and the building size is 6,450 square feet. The project site is located within the downtown Montebello specific plan, and it is within an existing commercial building on Whittier Boulevard. The project is zoned Main Street, surrounded by other Main Street zone properties to the south, east, and west, and a downtown edge zone property to the south. The immediate surrounding land uses are Main Street, which is consistent with the commercial designated land use, and it will not have an adverse impact on the adjacent or abutting properties. So the slide before you, is the proposed interior layout of the project site. The lot size totals 6,500 square feet, and it's developed with the 6,450 square foot commercial building that will be occupied by the proposed restaurant. There's one Patron entrance on the West Whittier Boulevard entrance, and the applicant revised their plans that were originally in the staff report upon the conduction of the staff report. So the only change and modification is they're adding an 83 square foot dishwashing room shown on the plans before you. Montebello Public Market will consist of 7 different kitchen units providing different cuisines. There are 94 Patron seats, including 20 within the patio dining area and 74 in the main dining area and bar seating, and they do meet the ADA seating requirements. The bar area is not separated from the main dining area seating, and there will be a full item of food on the menu available throughout all seating areas. The patio is outlined in the attached floor plan, and it will be utilizing existing building space and not encroaching into the public right-of-way. The restaurant will have a 12x6 stage providing live music performances featuring a variety of bands to enhance customer experience. The proposed business hours will be from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday through Sunday. And there will be a complete menu of food items that will be available for all hours of operation. There will be 32 people employed at this location, and like other surrounding businesses, this proposed business will utilize the surrounding public parking lots owned by the city, and along Whittier Boulevard and the north and south cross streets within the downtown area. On-street parking is typically provided. Only on-site consumption is requested through the CUP, and no off-site sales are proposed. The sale of alcohol will remain ancillary to the main function of the restaurant, being food preparation and meal service. And per the Department of ABC guidelines, all restaurant staff involved with the sale of alcohol will be required to complete an authorized responsible beverage service program to be trained how to sell alcohol safely and responsibly. And a condition of approval has been included for this project to this effect. The project site is located within Census Tract number 530.01, which permits 5 on-sale license types and 3 off-sale license types. This census tract currently has 5 on-sale type licenses and no off-sale type licenses. And by state law, ABC may only grant a limited number of alcohol licenses based on a per census tract quantity, meaning that only a certain number of licenses are granted in any given census tract area to avoid undue concentration of alcohol sales. As a result, it does not guarantee that the approval of the CUP will pass per the state. As the sole alcohol licensing and enforcement agency, ABC will ultimately determine the appropriate license types and requirements at the proposed site. There is also another active alcohol license adjacent to this proposed license, but it's listed in a separate census tract with their own requirements. Next slide, please. The proposed project is considered a project per the California Environmental Quality Act, and the project is categorically exempt from CEQA per Class 1 of Section 15301 relating to existing facilities. On February 20th, 2025, the public hearing notice was mailed to owners within the 300-foot radius and mailed to all occupants within a 500-foot radius from the exterior boundaries of the subject property. And on that same day, the public hearing notice was published in the Daily Journal, Whittier Daily News. And lastly, staff recommends that the Planning Commission adopt resolution number 0325, approving the conditional use permit with conditions to allow the on-site sale of a full line of alcoholic beverages, the Type 47 license, for on-site consumption in conjunction with a restaurant, Montebello Public Market, for the property located at 516 West Whittier Boulevard and to determine and find that the project is categorically exempt from the CEQA guidelines related to Class 1 existing facilities. Thank you. That concludes my presentation. Both myself and the applicant are available for questions.
And thank you, Grace, if I may, Commissioners. Just want to add for the record, we did receive a total of 5 comments that have been provided to the Commission. Each one appears to be in opposition to the proposal, and we do have 4 speaker cards. All right.
Do we have any questions for staff? Thank you. Thank you. Is there a possibility to hear from the applicant? Are they here?
Yeah. Would you like to speak? Do you have anything you would like to add?
Oh, no, I think it was.
Oh. Or you would like him to speak, correct?
Pardon?
You would like him to speak, correct?
You're welcome to.
Okay.
We can't force you to it.
Okay. I think he's okay.
There's nothing really he needs to add. She has performed the slides very well, and then it includes everything that we want.
Okay. I do believe we have speaker cards, right? Should I open public comment for the item?
Questions for the applicant from the commission first, and then the applicant, and then we'll take both comments, and then the applicant will have a chance to rebut if he does.
Okay. Let me take that back. Do we have any questions for the applicant? Okay. So no questions at this time, but we reserve the right to come back to you on that. At this point, let's open up public comment.
Mr. Chair, I will call the speaker cards. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to speak. Your time will start when you reach the podium. First speaker is Evelyn Santos, followed by Barney Santos. Thank you.
Good evening, Planning Commissioners. My name is Evelyn Santos. I am a homeowner and business owner in downtown Montebello. My partner and I co-own Boulevard Market and Alchemy Craft, 2 businesses dedicated to fostering community, supporting local entrepreneurs, and elevating the quality of our downtown. For the past 3.5 years, we have worked tirelessly alongside other small business owners like Salvatore's, April's Cakes, Angry Horse, and Tenderly's Boutique, and the city of Montebello to create a destination that is thoughtful, intentional, and beneficial to Montebello's future. I am here today to strongly oppose the CUP application for 516 West Whittier Boulevard, Montebello Public Market. Downtown Montebello is already facing a severe parking constraint, and another food hall of this size will make it worse. We do not have the infrastructure to support another high-volume food hall. Using the Newmark Mall as a catch-all parking solution is not sustainable, and this will create unnecessary strain on existing businesses, making it harder for our customers to access our establishments. A food hall needs around 2,000 to 3,000 transactions per vendor a month to survive. Having 8 food vendors means that the place needs an average of about 20,000 transactions a month. Beyond the parking issue, we must ask ourselves, what kind of businesses do we want our downtown Montebello to have? The applicant and his team have never been here to contribute to our community. They are here to extract from it. Their track record as property owners speaks for itself. They have shown no interest in improving their property, investing in beautification, or fostering a sense of place. Instead, they have taken shortcuts, leased to tenants who have added no value, and now they want to open a copy of what is already here. Montebello deserves better. We need more local entrepreneurs creating original, high-quality businesses, ones that prioritize thoughtful design, exceptional products, and meaningful experiences. We need operators who care about the success of our downtown, not those who see it as a mere transaction. Approving this license would be a slap in the face to those who have poured our hearts into the city, striving to create something truly special. I urge the Commission to deny this application and instead support the businesses that align with the vision of thriving, locally driven downtown, one built on innovation, integrity, and true investment in the community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker will be Barney Santos.
Hello, Planning Commissioners. My name is Barney Santos. I'm both a homeowner and a business owner here in downtown Montebello, specifically in the downtown area. My partner and I have owned and operated Boulevard Market and Alchemy Craft off the downtown corridor for the past 3.5 years. And, I serve on the Economic Development Committee for the downtown for the Chamber of Commerce, as well as I'm a small business commissioner for Supervisor Hilda Solis for District 1 for LA County. Our business has won Business of the Year award and has been recognized by LA Times as one of the best Latino-owned businesses in Los Angeles. I'm here to voice my strong concerns regarding the CUP application for this property because, I'm the applicant's neighbor, direct neighbor. We've witnessed firsthand their negligence as property owners and operators time and time again. They've demonstrated a complete lack of interest in contributing to Montebello's growth or maintaining a quality property. They conducted illegal construction without permits. One incident even electrocuted one of my employees one time. We had to call the city code enforcement on them. The property remains unkept, overgrown weeds, trash, and graffiti, bringing down the surrounding area. They've never invested in beautifying the storefront and consistently leased to tenants that add no value to the downtown, undermining the progress us and others have worked so hard to achieve. Simply put, the applicant has been irresponsible and negligent. As an alcohol license provider myself and holder, I understand the serious responsibility that comes with serving alcohol. Staff has to be trained to recognize intoxication before it escalates. Safety protocols must be in place to protect patrons in the community. Based on the applicant's track record, I have no confidence that they'll be able to hold up these standards. I foresee intoxicated patrons stumbling into our businesses, the shared alley, creating fights, causing hazards for the fire department and for the police department. Additionally, I'm deeply concerned about the parking strain this project is going to impose. A food hall of this scale requires about 25 to 50 parking spaces per hour to function successfully. I know this because I'm a developer of food halls. Our downtown is already at capacity, and relying on the Newmark Mall as a parking solution is not sustainable long-term. Allowing this project to proceed would severely impact existing small businesses, which is unacceptable in today's challenging economy as is. As a dedicated resident and business owner, I have to urge the commission today to please deny the applicant's application. This project poses too great a risk to the existing downtown Montebello, its businesses, and the residents. The fact alone that they're going to create 35 jobs means that's 35 parking spaces alone. That's not even customers included. That is an enormous strain on the city and on the downtown businesses that's just going to impact us all negatively. So I just urge you to please reconsider the use of this type of high volume businesses adding on to the already stressful situation that we have. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Our next speaker will be Joseph De Lorenzo.
Good evening, Commissioners, Mr. Palombi. I'm not as eloquent as Mr. and Mrs. Santos. I don't have anything prepared. I can only give you my professional opinion. I'm born and raised in Montebello, property owner, homeowner. Salvatore's Italian restaurant. My brother Anthony is right behind me. What I can tell you, the size and scope of this development is pretty much the same as the one that's at Culver City. I've been there. You have about 32 employees, so does that mean 32 cars? You have to take into consideration this is a Type 47 license. If you don't know what that means, that is a sit-down establishment where you have to be served. It's not a bar. So that means typically your average customer is going to dine in for at least 1 hour, possibly minimum 1 hour, maybe more. When you have customers plus the employees, where are you going to put them? Think about that. Are they coming by bus? I don't think so. They need to actually move around from a parking lot to this location. I just want to say I'm pro-business. I'm all for it. But you have to think of the scope and magnitude of this type of development, where it's located, and the impact it's going to cause on the parking facilities. The restaurant itself, as we've discussed many times, regarding the parking structure, if it's ever going to be developed. That has to be in place first. What goes first, the horse or the carriage? You have to take into consideration that we have existing businesses. We've been in business in the city for about 50 years, so we know what we're doing. Now, if you're going to take a gamble on a type of establishment that's going to bring in this magnitude, like I said, I'm for business, but the location, in my opinion, does not work. I've seen it at other locations. If it's a ghost kitchen, if it's a type of establishment that is a restaurant, which this is going to be, you're on two different spectrums. You're going to bring in a lot of people. Where are they going to park? Think about it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker will be Anthony De Lorenzo.
Good evening, Commissioners, Mr. Palomi. My name is Anthony De Lorenzo, Joseph's brother, co-owner of Salvatore's Restaurant, 50 years. Obviously, they talked a lot about parking. Parking is important, so I'm not going to talk a lot about that, but their size of development is pretty much the same as ours, actually a little bit bigger. Generally, on a weekend, we would have between 100 and 200 customers dining at our restaurant, which would mean about 50 cars parked. So if you're looking at adding another 100 or 200 with this development, plus the 32, you're looking at well over 80 parking spots. Now, I don't know if Montebello's parking structures or parking area is suited for this. Aside from parking, which they talked very well about, I think there's another important issue, which is safety. Having so many people around, I personally witnessed near misses between cars and pedestrians. At least 6 people get hit between the alley just because of the movement of the people. So if you have development that might be utilizing the alley going in and out, and cars coming in and in, safety is an issue and a concern. So just as Mr. Santos' wife and my brother, I strongly oppose. I am for business. We've been around for 50 years, understand how hard it is to develop a business, and I think Montebello needs to consider what goes first. As my brother said, I think parking is primary before any other investments come in. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our last speaker card is Philip Valencia.
Good evening, Commissioners, Mr. Palomi. I'm speaking on behalf of Teneri's Boutique, part owner there, and for Barney and for the Santos establishments. To add on to everyone, my big thing would be how Anthony says safety. I'm always in the back of our business, and I witness it all hours of the day that I'm there, how cars already pass through the alley, especially a parking lot, over 25, 30 miles an hour sometimes. So to add on to that as well, with more cars and more cars, traffic flowing, pedestrians going, it becomes a very, very huge safety issue. I'm all for business as well, bringing in revenue. It brings new clients, however that may be. But the fact of the matter is safety is a big thing. And I've, like Anthony said, just witnessing and all that, just always going, oh, damn, that person almost got hit. That elderly person almost got hit. People leaving Salvatore's restaurant almost getting hit, and it's a lot of elderly. It's not okay. And it's just going to bring more of that. And at the end of the day, as everyone's pointed out, it's a basic copycat of what the Santos establishment already has. So, and to be right next door, that's not cool. So that's the way I see it. Just safety and just a basic copy. So thank you, guys.
Thank you.
That concludes our speaker cards.
Thank you, Director Palomi. Is there a possibility that we can hear from the owners to rebuttal some of those statements, or?
Hi, everyone. My name is Jason, and I'm the son of the owner, Yao Pan. And I will be speaking today, answering or commenting to the other the other 5 comments that they have. So regarding to the parking problems, I would say right next to the 516 Whittier Boulevard, there is a huge parking lot behind 620 Whittier Boulevard, which we also own. And that property, we have owned it for more than 10 years, or actually around 10 years. And we have been operating the restaurant 701, if you guys would know. And that restaurant has been operating for around 4 or 5 years. And we are having no problems with the parking. And we have done research, and on the parking lot, we would have extra space every single day, like a lot of extra space for customers to park. And then, according to what they said about the restaurant is a copycat, I would say this is not a copycat because we are bringing in many other cultures into this restaurant. For example, under the plan, we have Chinese food, we have Mexican food, and we have Korean, Japanese. So this is not just a place where we're selling one type of food. Instead, we're bringing in many cultures in here so that we can spread to other customers and they could enjoy different types of food in our restaurant. And according to the outside of the building, we have owned this building for a couple years, but we did not have time to put construction in the building, and instead we have rented out, and that is true. But right now we plan to make this building more prettier than before, and then we are putting more time into this restaurant where it makes positive changes to the city. And yeah, 1 second. And yeah, that's about it.
Thank you. Can we ask questions of the applicant at this point? Okay. Commissioners, do you have questions or any comments?
I just have a question. What was the business before this new plan?
Before we have this property rented out, they have the property as a storage where they sell different types of the picture framing. And then they also sell off the old collections where they use it as a storage and everyone can come in and check it out. And then another business before that is a printing company where we have many printed photos and everything on the wall. So people could come in, they can buy pictures or they can buy the frames and everything. And then on the back of the building, we used to have a store, a whole bunch of frames for the pictures and for the photos. And yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. You were making reference to a parking lot that you own.
Oh, we don't own a parking lot.
You don't own the parking lot?
No, we don't own a parking lot. It's that behind the building of 620 West Whittier Boulevard, there is a huge public parking where our customers could park, which is right around the corner. And then we own the building of 620 so that we know there's a huge parking lot behind the building.
620, okay.
And it will be enough space for everyone to park. And then according to what previously they have talked about is now we're talking about full capacity of the restaurant, which costs, they're saying there is either 80 cars or something. That's when everything is full. But we're not expecting everything to be full, but we need to have the space, we need to have the environment to be there. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Chair. If well, maybe Director could also help us out here. There's a general plan for the city of Montebello and especially downtown Montebello. Maybe what's the idea in that area, the future plan for that, especially being a high volume, if you can, please.
Absolutely, Chair, members of the commission. So just to respond to some of the comments about the cart before the horse, as you know, the general plan and the downtown specific plan are relatively new documents, right? They were approved by the City Council April of last year, 2024. Whenever you build a downtown, you do it methodically, right? So one of the very important next steps that we are about to embark on, we're very close, is doing a parking capacity study, which would inform, existing. I think we have the number of existing spaces, but I think we need to have information on how many spaces do we need to build out our downtown, right? And to activate the corridor with these types of uses. Do we want to see more retail, commercial? Absolutely, on the corridor, right? However, we need to do it in a way where we're not creating an environment that is not conducive to our existing businesses. So I think that's where the parking capacity study comes in to inform those decisions as to how many parking spaces will we need in the future. So that's kind of where we are on the parking front. Do we have adequate parking? I think from just from being here for 5 years, I would say that there's some challenges there. So from a staff standpoint, there are challenges with regards to parking specifically in this area.
Thank you.
And just to clarify, Director Palomi, while we're at it, it's what's before us is really just a CUP, right? We're not providing any discretionary approval on the use or parking or reduction of parking or anything like that for this specific item.
Mr. Chair, you are absolutely correct. So the request before you tonight is a conditional use permit to allow the sale of alcohol. Restaurants are a permitted use within the downtown specific plan, and there is a mechanism for what I think we call, there's an options table, because we do understand that some of these buildings have been around for a long time. They've come with no parking, right? In some instances. So we do have a table or options in the specific plan. One of those options is what we call an alternate parking plan. So if you're asking, will there be steps in the future that need to be followed through the planning department? The answer is yes, to effectuate the use.
Any comments, commissioners?
I have a question. Maybe this is for staff. Given that this was previously not a restaurant, and they're going to be using this as a restaurant now, given that this is a CUP for alcohol itself, where does that leave any permitting when it comes to it being a restaurant?
So it would go back to what the permitted uses are within the specific plan. Restaurants are permitted along what we call the main street within the downtown specific plan, and they are permitted by right. Okay. So when I refer to the alternate parking plan as an option to accommodate the parking, that would be something that would need to be prepared, and it's an administrative review process on a staff level. And if it is adequate, then that would be approved through the building permit process for any tenant improvements.
I see.
Yeah.
And the alternate parking plan is really just boils down to a reduction in parking requirement?
No, and I think if Grace could help me on what the actual parking requirement is for the proposed use, we would need to, again, it would go back to the parking capacity study. If we determine that based on X number of spaces that there's adequate parking, then that would be a conversation between the applicant or property owner and staff.
Yeah, it's okay if I add. So for the downtown area, we have 3 designated city-owned lots. And for those lots specifically, the first has 52 spaces, which is north of Whittier Boulevard and 10th Street and Spruce Street. The second has 69 spaces south of Whittier Boulevard between Montebello Boulevard and 7th Street, Parking District 2. And the last one has 135 spaces, which is the Newmark Mall parking, which is designated for people going to walk around downtown, go to the restaurants, and any other shops.
If I may, collectively, how many spaces is that?
Collectively, it would be whatever, 135 plus 69 plus 52. Plus 52. 256 parking spots. And then also we do have the metered parking. So parking, I think it's actually free for an hour for the on-street parking in front of the restaurants as well.
I see. Also, a lot of the comments that we've received, and this is, commissioners, they seem to be related to sort of the responsibility of the property owner on maintaining a safe environment. Do we have any information as to that? Do we have any police reports or incident reports that we can maybe look back on?
I believe we circulate when the request comes in from the applicant, it gets circulated to all the departments. I believe we did. Did we get any comments from the police department?
They had no comments.
No comments.
Gotcha.
And we do have the conditions of approval. So the police department, they can step in at any time if there are any code enforcement issues or anything going on at the site. They can step in to take action, as well as the ABC licensing. They will have their own restrictions and guidelines for safety measures.
Thank you. As part of this tenant improvement, are they providing any exterior alterations?
So they are taking a portion of the existing building and they're going to be creating a patio. So it won't be encroaching into the public right-of-way, but it will be an exterior remodel that will still have to go through the permitting process through planning and building.
I see. Okay. Any additional thoughts, commissioners?
I'll just make a comment just because I do live on 6th Street myself. On cross streets are 6th Street and Beverly, and I do walk consistently to Boulevard Market as a regular there, and I do often see issues with parking, which is why I usually walk there. Now, I am not going to say I'm opposed to seeing more restaurants because I do believe in the future of downtown Montebello, but I do feel that there is a need for additional parking, for sure. I would say that maybe just me personally, I would like to see other things in place before proceeding with any approvals. That's just a comment that I would, on my behalf, it's just something that I feel would be needed, but that's just how I feel about the subject. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. And again, Director, just to clarify, the before us, the item before us is the CUP, right? The conditional use permit for the sale and consumption of alcohol on site. That is completely independent from the permit to operate as a restaurant or even the parking issue, really.
That is correct. If the applicant decided to open a restaurant without alcohol, it would not be before the commission. It would be a by right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
you know, I recognize that there is an issue in the downtown area, right? And it's a big issue, right? Parking is definitely a big issue, and every time I've been to the Boulevard Market, I've always had to maybe park outside, find a good spot. So I see it. I see it. I just don't think it's parking alone isn't an issue that's really before us. I don't think we can use it as a reason to approve or deny the conditional use permit for the alcohol use. The use of the space is allowed by right, and that's also not an item that's within the purview of this body. I think with that said, I think we might need to entertain a motion, Director, unless you guys want more discussion.
And just, well, what comes to mind also, there's a lot of businesses currently that are closed around that area, and there's already the issue, and you explained it very well right now, Chair, about parking not being a reason why. But if we see a few of the businesses that are closed right now, and there's already an issue in parking, then if we have this high volume, yes, public market, it would be another issue. So it's, to really think about it,
Commissioners, would you guys, entertain the possibility of it? I mean, I would hate the idea of extending this any further, but I feel like this needs a little bit more thought. Could we, extend this to the next session, Director? Is that we've done it before for other items, I just
yes, and look at the city attorney, but if you continue it to a date certain, you preserve the notice. So yes, you could continue this to the next meeting, or even the meeting after, as long as it's a date certain. It's at the discretion of the.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, that's correct.
Would we be able to include a request for a parking study prior to the future meeting, just to?
I'll answer the question. It might not be, so we could do I think we've done sort of an analysis based on existing spaces. We could do sort of a further, more in-depth to see how many commitments we have from the existing parking to kind of do our own analysis. But the parking capacity study, it's probably going to take several months. We literally just received the approval to get, we already have, I'm just waiting, maybe it's too much information, but for a PO from our finance department, so we can get that underway. So literally, we're very close. Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. In order to sort of extend this to a date certain, which would be the 18th of March, right? Which would be our next meeting, March 18th. Yes. Do we need to do a motion to do that, or?
Motion and a second, and majority vote. Motion, second, and a majority vote.
Gotcha. Okay, in that case, can I?
To staff to do some more research. That's what.
Yeah, I would like to make a motion to postpone to the meeting of March 18th of 2025 with the inclusion of just, getting a little bit more
Direct staff.
Yeah, if I could get more direction from staff as to whether this would really be something that is good for, for that specific location.
And I'll second.
Okay, thank you. Can we get a roll call?
Chairperson, yes. Chairperson Medina?
Aye.
Vice Chairperson Lomeli?
Aye.
Commissioner Morales?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Thank you to everybody that came for this item. I think we need a little bit more context to make a decision. We don't take the role lightly, so we want to make sure that we do something that's good for the city. Thank you. And with that, we can move on to the next item.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Item 3 relates to a proposed zone variance that would allow deviations from the city's zoning regulations regarding parking standards. And Grace will also provide the presentation on this item.
Good evening, Chair, members of the Planning Commission, and the public. The item before you is a request for a zone variance for the property located at 224 South Greenwood on behalf of the property owner, Vicken Saradarian, to allow deviation from the R3 zoning parking standards outlined in the Montebello Municipal Code, Section 171020, the residential development standards for the property located at 224 South Greenwood. So as shown in the aerial before you, shown by the yellow star is the project site. The total lot area of the property is 6,739 square feet. The property is an R3 multifamily zoned residence and it's designated neighborhood under the land use element of the general plan. The existing property includes a duplex and an accessory dwelling unit that has been completed as of this month. Specifically, this request is to deviate from the minimum parking spaces required per dwelling unit located at 224 South Greenwood Avenue. The Montebello Municipal Code requires 2 enclosed parking spaces per unit, and the previous property owner, they converted the single-family home into a duplex about 3 years ago. So it's been existing, but this creates the parking non-conforming to the current standards. So by keeping their existing 3-car garage rather than the 4-car garage, this would be the request for the zone variance to deviate from the 1 parking spot. The slide before you is the site plan of the property at 224 South Greenwood Avenue. At the rear of the property is the existing 3-car garage that was just converted to a 778 square foot ADU, which is per state law. At the front of the property is the existing duplex. 1 unit is 905 square feet, and the back unit is 600 square feet. Also in attachment C of the staff report, there's the full set of plans if you need a better look. The existing property contains the single-family home, which was converted into a duplex without permits back in the day. The property by right is allowed 1 dwelling unit per 3,000 square feet. The property is over 6,000 square feet, so they are allowed the 2 units by right. The deviation from the R3 parking requirements would require the property to have 4 enclosed parking spots, 2 per unit, but the applicant is requesting to have the 3 as they have had for the last year. This multifamily property is also surrounded by other multifamily properties that also have legal non-conforming parking based on the number of units. The current property owner purchased this property back in February of 2024, where the duplex was already existing. The owner before that stated it was vacant for 2 years, so it's estimated that this property has been converted since 2022. The property can accommodate 4 off-street parking spaces that are not enclosed, shown in the site plan. The current tenants have been parking on site, and the 3 enclosed parking spaces have been permitted to be converted into an ADU, not part of this project. Surrounding properties have a duplex and do not conform to the current parking standards, and in attachment D of the staff report, the property owner has put together a list with all of the addresses and the surrounding properties that are non-conforming. This would be the list of all of the properties. Case number PC 2024-0016ZV is considered a project per the CEQA definition of a project pursuant to the provisions of the California Environmental Quality Act and is considered covered by the existing facilities, a Class 1 categorical exemption. And it also is under the common sense exemption under the CEQA guidelines, section 15060C2 and 15061B3. On February 20th, 2025, the public hearing notice was mailed to owners within the 300-foot radius from the exterior boundaries of the property owner. And on that same date, the public hearing notice was published in the Daily Journal, the Whittier Daily News. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission adopt resolution number 0425, approving the zone variance with conditions to allow deviation from the R3 zoning parking standards outlined in the Montebello Municipal Code, section 171020, and specifically to deviate from the minimum parking spaces required per dwelling unit located at 224 South Greenwood Avenue, and to determine and find that the project is exempt from the CEQA guidelines related to Class 1 existing facilities. Thank you. That concludes my presentation. Both myself and the applicant are available for questions.
Thank you so much. Do we have any questions for staff? While you guys think about that, I do have a question. I'm wondering, what is the legal use of the buildings now?
Like their current state?
Yes.
Their current state is a duplex.
It's legally a duplex.
So they did not obtain permits for it, but it is permitted by right, so they will have to go through the process. If approved, they would submit the plans for everything together.
So just to clarify, right now, it's legally a single-family dwelling.
Yes.
And it's legally an ADU.
Correct.
Okay. And the garage was legally converted into an ADU. And the garage had how many parking spots?
It had 3 parking spots.
Three
Yes.
covered spots.
Yes. 3.
Gotcha. We'll take up public comment in just a few minutes. I'm just trying to understand. Thank you. And the parking study that you showed at the end, was that prepared by staff, or who prepared that?
That was done by the applicant.
The applicant prepared that?
Yes.
Did
So we
staff
did not
vet that information by any chance?
We did not have a chance to look over it. It was recently sent to us, but the applicant is also available to talk if he wants to talk on behalf of that.
I see. Okay. So, I mean, the reality is that we don't know if that information is factual or based on the permitted uses with the city. Okay. Any questions for staff?
If I may, was that 3-car garage a retrofit conversion to an ADU, or was just an?
It was a straight conversion. So
Okay.
the existing garage as is the ADU currently.
Okay. Because I know there was a retrofit requirement at some point, right, of converting into ADUs. Okay.
And just to clarify, there's a standalone single-family dwelling would have a 2-car covered.
Yes.
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 Gotcha. Okay. Is there a possibility that we can hear from the applicant?
Yeah.
Good evening, Commissioners. Yeah, my name is Vic. I'm the owner of 224 South Greenwood Avenue. Appreciate you taking the time to review our application today. So yeah, I'm a native to Montebello. I grew up in Montebello. My dad has had his business here in Montebello for over 30 years. We love the city, and we don't really want to have any negative impact on the surrounding community or the neighborhood. But we do realize that housing is a big need right now in the city, as well as parking is an issue as well. So that's why we made sure that, to provide pictures, that there is a really long driveway. I believe Grace said that there was about 3 parking spaces, but they could easily fit 4 or 5 cars. Did you provide them with the pictures?
I did not.
Okay, so I provided some pictures, and in the pictures you could see that there's 3 cars parked in the picture, and there's additional space for at least two cars beyond that. So, I mean, even though we're trying to deviate from the enclosed parking space, there's still enough space for residents to park on the property for off-street parking. We just want to use the property for its highest and best use, which would be converting the front existing to a duplex, and then again, we got permits for the ADU in the back. Other than that, yeah, I honestly don't think that it's going to have a negative impact on the community, because there is that off-street parking that's going to be available to residents. Appreciate your time. I'm here to answer any questions.
Thank you. Thank you. I have a question. I'm wondering, I'm trying to understand, there's enough space. You're saying that you could use the driveway for parking.
Mm-hmm.
Why isn't that shown in the ask here? Why isn't that noted in the sort of the concessions here?
I think that it was just the way that the regulations are written. It's requiring enclosed parking spaces. We're trying to deviate from that. If I could rewrite the application, if that helps. But yeah, there's definitely enough space, and I've provided pictures. You guys are feel free to review those.
Will either you or your family be residing in the house? No.
No, it's going to be a rental investment property.
Gotcha. Okay. So I'm a little bit confused because and this is not for you. Maybe this is more for staff. The item before us is to basically waive the parking requirement so that there would be 0 off-street parking. Is that correct?
So the deviation is to waive the parking requirement for 1 extra parking spot that would be needed. And the applicant, by right, per the state law, they can convert their garage to an ADU, which they've done so, which we aren't able to deny. So the parking garage, the existing 3-car parking garage, that would have been the state of the parking garage, and they were deviating from that 1 extra parking spot.
Okay. I guess I understand what you're saying, but the state law for the ADU allows him to convert his garage.
Yes.
And not replace the parking spots.
Correct.
There's transportation nearby, right?
Yes.
So he converted his garage. The site lost the 3 cars.
Yes.
Covered parking.
Mm-hmm.
But now he's changing that, right? Now he's adding a 3rd unit, right?
Yes.
By converting the single family into a duplex.
Correct.
That is not managed by the state. That there's no state law that waives that parking requirement, is there?
Correct. And the zoning it's an
R3.
R3.
Yes.
Right. It was a single family home, so the conversion triggers the need for the deviation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. The conversion to a duplex?
Yes.
Okay. I'm very cautious when it comes to, these reductions in parking. As we just heard, these are very, very contentious items. But before we jump into that, commissioners, do you have any other comments? No. Director, can we open up public comment for the item?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we do have 2 speaker cards. I will call the first speaker, Luz Martinez. My brother will speak for me. Okay, is it Johnny Martinez? Johnny Martinez. Okay.
Just to clarify, there's 2 speaker cards?
There are 2 speaker cards. I believe, Ms. Martinez, will you be speaking tonight, or?
Just to add a few things after my
Okay,
brother.
okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Good afternoon. I'm not a good speaker. I own the place next door to 224. My main concern here is that garage. The garage was built on the property line up to the edge. The city of Norwalk requires 4 feet back before you can build. This was done illegally, but I was there when it was done. I lived down across the street. I never said nothing about it because it was none of my business. The property right now, the wall on that unit they converted from a garage to a ADU. It's on the property line, which it shouldn't be on the property line. That wall should be 4 feet on the owner's property, right there. Dry as you can see it. I've been a contractor for about 50 years. I'm quite an old man. I've been here on Montebello since 1955 when I came out of the Army. I'm 91 years old. Anyway, that was not right because I had my contractor license expired here about 20 years ago because I quit. I quit doing contracting jobs because I retired. I retired from the state correctionals. I'm opposed to. I don't like the way the property, the garage was built maybe about 20, 30 years ago, and they built up the wall on the one side of the garage right on the property line. Didn't follow the rule of the 4 feet back before you start building. I like to find out why they didn't do that. That garage in the back sits on the property line. It should not be. If I wanted to build next door, I can't build because it's on the property line. I will have to take my project and go into more room of my own than use the property line the way it's supposed to be. That's all I want. That's all I have to say about that. There's no windows on one side. They couldn't paint. They couldn't come on the other side to paint because they were afraid they would be stepping on my property. They were, because that garage it's on the property line. They didn't follow them. They didn't follow the 4 feet rule. I don't know how it passed. Excuse me. I was going to go to the city hall, find out who passed that. I got to find out who passed that. You can't pass that. Well, you got to have the 4 feet, like I did on the other side when I followed the rule of the 4 feet when I put that cinder block wall on the other side of that property. I did the right thing. I got the permits and everything. I just want to know what happened here with the 4 feet. 4 feet. I like to get corrected.
Thank you, sir.
That building has to be set back 4 feet.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
If you look at the books, that's the way it is.
Thank you.
That's all I have to say. But it's incorrect. That's my only thing that I have to say about the property. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I just add a few things?
You can come and speak. You have a speaker card, so most definitely.
You sent me a letter, zoning.
Sorry, can you get closer to the microphone?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. You sent me a letter, and you sent my brother Johnny a letter too, and I don't know about the rest of the neighbors. It's very confusing for me. You want to see it, or shall I leave it here and then I'll get an answer from you people later on? Ooh, I dropped something, thank you. This is the letter that I received.
Is the letter related to this item? Would you like me to explain? Yes, please.
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, the document that Ms. Martinez provided is the notice of public hearing. This is what's sent out in connection with projects that include a public hearing such as this. And what this is intended to notify all occupants or owners within a 300-foot radius of the proposed project, that there will be a public hearing and that you will have the opportunity to speak on behalf of, the item, so.
Okay, fine.
Thank you. I hope that
Can I just
clarifies.
add a few things that have been in my mind for a long time? In back of my house, there's a big lot. It used to be a nursery of some sort. I'm not sure if you know about it. Anybody of, they park empty trailers, and that's facing Olympic. They park over here where I am, right? Very close. My concrete is breaking. And you're gonna say, hey, it doesn't break. I live there. I do my washing there. My concrete is breaking. The heavy trailers are parked so close to the brick wall that I have in the back of my garage. Is there anything you can do about it?
I think that's perhaps an item you can bring up. I think that's an item you can bring up with maybe our director here after the meeting. Do you have anything related to the item before us?
Yeah, well, I'll come back tomorrow then. Just tell me where to go. Where to go and complain about this.
If you don't mind waiting till the end of the meeting, we can probably catch up with you and let you know where to come in.
Is the meeting almost over?
Almost.
No, because I don't want to, be here. Okay. Does every house has to have a garage in my block?
I believe maybe these are questions we can answer separately.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you'll answer me the question? Okay. Okay, that's it, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
I've been living in Montebello for many years, since 1957. I should get my way, right? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Director, do we have any more speaker cards?
That concludes our speaker cards, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. We also did receive some communication regarding this item as well.
Yes, that is correct. We did receive one comment letter or email.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. And the email is really related to, again, the impact of parking with due to the density of the area. And looks like there's a mention of Airbnbs in the area as well, also impacting the street parking that's available. I'm sorry, do I need to end? Oh, yes. Can we give the applicant an opportunity to rebuttal some of those comments? Looks like it's just the first comment.
Sure. Yeah, I know the people that complained. She came and saw our project when we first took it over. If she was going to complain about the parking, she would have complained right here. So that's all I have to say. We've had the permits for the ADUs. We've had construction crews. They have big old pickup trucks, and nobody's complained about parking for the past 3 or 4 months. So, I don't think it should be a problem with residents' cars.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, in that case, I'm going to go ahead and close public comment for the item and open it up for discussion here.
I guess the resident did bring up a question. I guess that I would like to ask staff maybe. Are garages required for the R3 zones?
Yes, so in the R3 zones, you need 1 parking spot, or you need 2 enclosed parking spots per unit. So since they did the conversion, they would have needed a total of 4 enclosed parking spots when the existing property had 3.
Okay, so that's what triggered this.
Correct. So it has been existing in this state for 3 years. So the new property owner is kind of just doing the due diligence of going through this process to do the zone variance to deviate from the existing and current parking standards.
Okay. So the deviation is in connection with the conversion of the single family into a duplex?
Correct.
Okay.
And then, as we know, state law allows for the garages to be converted to accessory dwelling units, which is how we ended up with the converted garage.
Also, to mention his comment, it can be against the property line if it's existing. So when it's a conversion, a straight conversion, if the existing garage is against the property line, we permit that by state law.
Yeah, sorry. That's what I wanted to also ask. Was it a new construction? Was it rebuilt, or it was an existing garage?
Yes, a conversion of the existing garage.
I think we have an opportunity to maybe address the community's need by perhaps not necessarily waiving the parking requirement, but waiving specific sections, right? Like we could waive and this question, as it is a statement, could we waive, say, the requirement to have the parking covered, for example?
Yes, I think that in itself, I think we're relying on state law for that purpose. So the covered parking, in essence, becomes an ADU. So that is not a non-issue at this point because they've converted the covered parking into the accessory dwelling unit.
Right.
Yeah.
But this is in connection with the new unit, right? Not in connection with the ADU.
Yeah. Because there is no new development in per se, they're converting an existing structure. I don't think it triggers the requirement for additional covered parking. I think it's more about the total number of spaces, if that makes sense.
Okay. It's just a little confusing because it's I'm still, for some reason, I'm still connecting the parking requirement sort of separate from this new unit. Even though we're not necessarily increasing building area, we are increasing the amount of, or the density in the lot. And hearing like sort of the opposition on the parking requirement, I'm sort of inclined to, and this is sort of in line with what the owner was mentioning, that they could park 2-3 cars in the driveway. Or more than that. Okay. So I'm wondering if that can be part of the conditions of this, conditions of the parking waiver. It's just a little bit weird because the ask is to reduce it to 0, and one of the conditions is going to be that they provide at least 2 open parking spaces in the driveway.
Yeah, I think is it the 0 for covered parking? Can you explain that a little bit more in detail?
Like for the existing state of the site for the parking?
Yeah.
So I guess it does tie into the ADU because they would have the garage, but the state law does allow that conversion, so they don't have any enclosed parking spaces because of the ADU, but they do have space in between the units to have uncovered parking as well as the driveway.
And that is 3 spaces, right?
Yes.
3, and they need 4.
Correct.
Yeah.
I think we could fit 4 in there pretty easily, maybe even 5, I would say, just in the driveway. If we want to make it a condition, I could, I'm okay with that too, because I'm confident we could fit 4 cars in the driveway.
I want to focus on the increase in density outside of the ADU and outside of the single family that was there before. So my recommendation would be that the owner provide 2 open tandem stalls in the driveway, unless that violates another, I don't know, access issue.
I don't think it violates an access issue. I think there is there 10 feet, right? There would be a 10-foot.
Looks like they have about 16 feet. Yeah, a 16-foot driveway. What are the dimensions of our standard stall?
I believe it's 18 feet, am I right?
Yes, 18 by 10, 9.5 or something.
18 by 9, 18
Yeah.
by 10? By 9? Okay. So they conceivably would have a 7-foot separation between the stalls and the, okay.
And I think you just need a path of travel. So if you're stacking them side by side, that could be challenging.
Okay. Path of travel.
To access, for example, if a fire apparatus or something needed to get in there, you would need to have an area that's cleared.
Okay. And the area would have to be greater than 7 feet?
I believe so. I believe it's 10 feet, if I'm not mistaken.
10 feet, I believe.
Yeah.
And it will also go through building and fire, so they would be able to make their corrections or comments for any like access paths as well.
Okay. Any discussion, commissioners, of the thought of asking for 2 uncovered?
So are there conditions that are being?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm suggesting that the condition of approval of the variance to allow a deviation of parking, ask that the applicant provide 2 uncovered stalls on site. Let's leave it at on site, and then hopefully they can figure out maybe a proper location.
Okay.
Okay. In that case, would I be able to draw up that motion myself, or do I have to request a motion?
Yeah.
Okay. In that case, I would like to make a motion to approve the zone variance, case number PC 2024-0016-ZV, to allow a deviation from the R3 zoning parking standards as outlined in the Montebello Municipal Code, section 17.10.020. Specifically to deviate from the minimum parking spaces required per dwelling unit located at 224 South Greenwood Avenue, with the additional condition that the site allow for 2 uncovered parking stalls on site, a minimum of 2.
A motion second.
What? You need to include the CEQA analysis. Oh, I'm sorry. And also to adopt the next page. And also determine and find that the project is exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act pursuant to CEQA guidelines sections 15.301 related to the existing facilities, a class 1 categorical exemption. Do I have to reiterate the condition? The additional condition?
No, I think it was included.
Okay. Can we get a roll call?
Motion second.
Oh.
Second. Chairperson Medina.
Aye.
Vice Chairperson Lomeli.
Aye.
Commissioner Morales.
Aye.
And motion passes.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, sir, for your time. Thank you, staff. Next item is the Planning Commission orals. Do we have any Planning Commission orals? No orals. I would like to say something. It's, this is my first time holding the gavel here today, and I can definitely appreciate the how intense it is, my goodness. The pressure, yeah, golly. So with that, I'm gonna go ahead and move on to adjourning the meeting.
And you're flanked by two veterans.
Yeah, exactly.